I just poo in my pants. Hello guys and welcome back to the Daily Dacob Podcast. It's not really daily. It's kind of like when you want to do something daily and you don't commit to it daily. And then I'm getting off on a tangent, but today's episode is about FOMO, fear of missing out. Back to the tangent. When you want to do something daily, right, you have to set things in place to where you can be able to complete those tasks daily, if that makes sense. So what do I mean by that? Let's say you want to exercise daily. Well, some of the things that you can put in to tasks before you fully commit to your daily task is, go to a gym, get a gym membership, buy a protein shake. Even though none of these things truly work in keeping you there for the long run, when you stay and stick to it, then you have a better incentive because you've already invested so much time and effort into it. The opposite could also be said though, for doing something and then over time you just develop enough passion and vigor, and then you'll purchase things, and then you'll get a gym membership and etc. etc. But for me, what has worked for when I'm trying to do something daily, the first thing is to have like 1 or 2, maybe 3 episodes loaded in the background before I upload anything, so I have a bit of a buffer time. And then when I do upload regularly or semi-consistently or semi-daily, that's when I have some catalog and I've already figured out the process of how to edit and upload and all that stuff. Back to FOMO. So, just recently, I went on Instagram, as I do, as anyone does when they need to upload anything on Instagram, and I saw some friends from high school posting some pictures of them hanging out with other friends from high school. Now, a bit of backstory so you guys can understand where I'm coming from, and this is also a great question towards you guys if you guys have FOMO too. But I wasn't really that cool or that popular in school. I think a lot of kids can relate to that. So it's interesting that when you see someone in your friend group outside of school hang out with your friend group and you're not invited, or you're not in it or participating in it, you feel FOMO to some degree. But the reason why I wanted to talk about FOMO today in particular was, sure, I felt that FOMO, I guess I felt it occasionally pop up here and there. But in my life, I've developed such good habits or such a positive mindset to where FOMO kind of becomes a benefit to me. I enjoy it if I'm not invited to things. I enjoy it if people don't ask me out. Because in my opinion, if that is the case, then it's like, cool. I would much rather not be invited than if I was. So let me get into this nitty-gritty first, and then we can start to understand it and unpack it. I wrote some notes down as well in this book, which I may go through a bit later. So first off, let's describe someone who has a lot of FOMO and then someone who has FOMO just as much but doesn't get the effects of FOMO, if that makes sense. So I'll use 2 examples, me and my brother. Now my brother, I think he would agree to some degree that he has more FOMO than I do. He feels it more passionately than I do, and he would like to join in or be a part of a party or whatever. I think also from a young age, right, he developed these habits out of survival or just out of life in general. So I'll give you an example. Let's say, my brother wants to go and someone is making a video for a party or something. For him, he would much rather be in it, and he'll feel like he missed out if he wasn't invited to the video shoot, or he couldn't make it to the video shoot, or for whatever reason couldn't fit in, right? Fear of missing out is also like a fear of missing the opportunity to fit in and stay with everyone because you want to be cool. And so oftentimes I would see examples of where he would, feel bad or feel like he missed out on something because of that fear of FOMO. Right, so that's one spectrum, which I feel like this is a spectrum of whether or not or how much you fear FOMO, because everyone's on a certain spectrum, right? Some people, or I believe everyone, has FOMO to some degree, but some people reactions is slightly different. And so one side of the spectrum, let's just say it's my brother's side, but he's not that bad FOMO wise, but let's just say the extreme sides of FOMO is when you're not invited to a party, but you go anyways. Even though you weren't invited, you go in to the party because you're trying to hear the gossip, you're trying to ask people around in school or whatever, and you're trying to figure out what is the reasons and where's the location of the party so you can come to the party even though you're not invited, just because you fear missing out on something cool. When you rock up to the party, you try to chat to everyone, try to feel cool, try to fit in. That's what I would perceive as the higher echelons of FOMO. And then we'll just call that my brother. Okay, I'm disrespecting my brother, but we'll just put it there for now. Okay, and then let's say, okay, now I'm glazing myself by putting me on the opposite category, but let's just say someone who doesn't fear or doesn't have as much FOMO as someone who hears about this party, knows that he's not invited, is like, okay, cool, whatever, doesn't even talk about it to anyone else, doesn't even raise a question, no one even acknowledges it, he doesn't even acknowledge it himself, he lives his daily life, and then on a random Monday he realized that the party already passed and he didn't even give a crap, but everyone's talking about it in school and he couldn't care less. Cool, so there's two spectrums. I realized, maybe you guys can say what spectrum you are, in the middle or higher or lower, but I realized from my school life, from the way I was raised, from being raised in just a all boys household, you build thicker skin, I guess. I don't know, I'm just making up weird words, but for me, I never had that sense of FOMO, and that might be partly because I had my brothers, I had my siblings to always make me feel like I wasn't missing anything. That could also be because I'm naturally introverted with extroverted tendencies. So like I'm a natural introvert, but I can't be extroverted when required, right? And so in like life, what often happened in school was I kind of enjoyed it when people wouldn't invite me, because I'm like, yes, now I have to prove you wrong, even though you did nothing wrong to begin with. In my mind, I'm like, yes, they didn't invite me, cool, I'm grateful, I'm going to do all of this crap in the meantime that is so valuable to me that I'll be so grateful that I wasn't invited, because I would have never done those things if I was. I don't know, that's just the way I kind of thought about it. And so like oftentimes when I had the initial fear of missing out, I sat back, thought about it clearly, and then realized that it didn't really affect me as much as I thought it did. So I'll give you an example. Let's go back to that school example, and then I'll tie it back to where or to what I said about that Instagram example from real life at the start. So let's say it's a school example. I know, right, there's some popular kids in school, and I'm just using this school example, but you can tailor it to whatever you want it to be. If you're homeschooled, you can tailor it to fucking playing games or whatever. Anyways, so I'm at school, and then everyone's like talking about this, like, oh, you know, like everyone's talking about it. And then I hear it to some degree, have that initial FOMO. But I'm not perfect, so I probably would talk to some classmates or some friends about what the party is, or what's going on, or what's happening, right? This is when I was in school, so you can tailor it to you when you were also in school. And you're like, okay, cool, what's happening, man? Because I'm curious. I also have FOMO, blah, blah, blah. Get a grasp? Oh, man. John and Jim, bro. They're making this massive party. It's going to be all the girls, all the guys from multiple different schools. They're all going to come here just to see this party, man. It's going to be crazy, bro. Oh, yeah, nice, bro. That's sick. Bit of FOMO. This is when I get a bit of FOMO, and then I'm like, cool. Now, what's going to often happen is weeks go by where this is the top chatter of the school, and everyone in your classroom is talking about it. Even afterwards, everyone's going to be talking about it. The day after the weekend, right? You're going to come back. Oh, bro, that party was sick, dude. I, being me at school, oh yeah, tell me about it, man. I'm curious. I have FOMO too. But I think already at a younger age, I kind of appreciated the fact that even though I'm not invited to things, that's cool. I shouldn't be affected by it. If they didn't want to invite me, there's a solid reason for doing that. And I shouldn't push it on them to invite me, because that's only going to do the opposite effect. And oftentimes, in retrospect, these kids talk about the party and it goes crazy, man. It is crazy. Props to them for organizing that party and running it so smoothly. But oftentimes, people talk about it, but a majority of the people that were there found the party mid. So oftentimes, you know, you've gone to a lot of parties where it was not worth the time. And so then, as someone who wasn't invited to the party, and in that meantime could hang out with friends, could talk to strangers, could, you know, hang out with siblings and family and relatives, you realize that, that's interesting. A majority of the people didn't really enjoy that party, and so why are you fearing so much of missing out when there was nothing to fear to begin with? You're not going to be any less cool. You're not going to be any more intelligent because you went to that party. Intelligent in terms of like general intelligence, not like intelligence in terms of party, because you'll probably get smarter if you go to more parties and you'll know how parties go and stuff. But that's besides the point. But yeah, and then you realize like, oh damn, why do I care so much, truly? And this is what happens when you think back in retrospect, because you may still be in your 30s, 40s, and fear of missing out constantly, man, in your friend group. Even though you work, you might constantly fear that thing, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. But I think to a certain degree, if you have so much FOMO, then oftentimes you're sacrificing it to some degree. And what I mean by sacrificing is you're sacrificing yourself, right? You're not being true to yourself. Because whenever you care so much about something else that is out of your control, you often lose control. And that's a terrible place to be in my opinion. So, having FOMO is completely understandable to certain degrees. I completely agree with it. I'm just saying it and talking about it and discussing it just so that if you do have FOMO, maybe these insights can help you not have as much FOMO. That's anyways, but you know what I'm saying, like that would just help you do whatever you want. But back at topic, let's say you've gone to a party where it was really fun for you. You maybe found your significant other, or you talk to certain people. Oftentimes, what makes parties really fun is the connection. That's the truth. So oftentimes, what you don't realize is that what makes the party the most fun is because you have so many chances to interact with new people, and from interacting with new people, you can find like-minded people, just like yourself. Which is super duper sick, and which is what makes parties fun, right? Because oftentimes when you're in high school, FOMO occurs from parties. That's why I'm using these as an example. But the reason why it's also flawed is because you could do the same thing. You could interact with so many people. You can hang out with your friends, have fun. That's what often gives you the most joy, instead of going to the party, which at the time you feared missing out on, because you want to be seen as cool. Who doesn't want to be seen as cool though? But that's why it's so interesting, because it's always about perspective at the end of the day. Because truly, for me, if I was going to go hang out at a party, meet new people, that's sick. But if that doesn't happen, I can hang out with my friends, play games, and have fun for that weekend, sleep early, wake up the next morning, be happy, bro. And it's just as fun, and I don't feel any loss, right? I think when you're not invited to something and something goes on, you feel like you missed out on something. You feel like you lost something. But there was nothing to lose. You didn't lose anything. All you can do is gain. Because if you know that someone's intentionally trying to leave you out of parties or not inviting you to parties, bro, that's so sick for you, man. Because in that time, you can improve yourself so much, or you can hang out with friends, or you can find certain groups that you'll never find if you were invited to those things. And that's why it's so good to have FOMO, but not be affected by FOMO, if you get what I'm saying. Cool. Off on another tangent. Anyways, back to the Instagram story. So it's like, after looking at that photo, feeling FOMO, quick recap, just of friends taking photos together, hanging out. It seems like a cool party. After looking at that, it's like, okay, quick snapshot in my mind. I had FOMO, cool. Then afterwards, I thought about it. Okay, he is on his own journey. Same with my other friend. They're both on their own journeys, but they align pretty well with each other. And so that's why they are hanging out currently in the moment. For me, I'm on my own journey. Doing things by myself oftentimes, right? And because of that, I'm not in those parties. I'm not in those groups. I'm not willing to do certain things, and I'm not willing to do certain things. I'm not willing to do things, and I'm willing to do certain things that they're not willing to do, right? So it's like a mismatch, but we're still cool. We're still friends. But I realize oftentimes we're just at different points in our lives, different goals in our lives, and so there's no need to feel that sense of FOMO when you realize that it's not you, it's not them, it's just this point in life for you, and it's just that point in life for them. And so they might have their own reasons and goals, and they may be hanging around certain people because they go to school or they have work. And so when they have those parties or events, it's because it's with someone that they hang out regularly with. For you, I'm talking about me in this current situation. It's like You got your music thing, you got your own thing, you got this podcast thing, you got so much things that you can do by yourself, do with your family, that doesn't align completely well with your friends. So there's no need to feel FOMO when you know that at the end of the day, whether it be going on a holiday, hanging out with friends, playing games, you shouldn't fear missing out on it, because there was nothing to miss out on, because you're doing your own thing. You're juggling your own balls. Pause. You're trying to figure out your own thing, right? So don't feel that FOMO, because everyone's on their own journey. Even if your journey right now may be rough, rugged, that's me. I can understand that too. No, I can't completely understand your situation, but in a similar situation, right? You don't feel like you're doing much. That's okay, because your journey is different to those and to other journeys, right? I was gonna say something really quickly, but I forgot. Yeah, but that's the thing. So fearing missing out is just like, it's kind of like finite, because what you fear and what other people fear when they look at your life truly isn't something that you should worry about, because we're all on a separate journey. And if you're not invited to parties, if you feel like you're missing out a lot, just stop and think, okay, I would obviously be in some type of better situation, maybe, if they invited me, or if I joined, or if I did this, or if I did X. But you're not. So it shouldn't affect you, right? If you get what I'm saying. Like, it's never going to be beneficial for you to dwell and think and constantly feel over it, when at the end of the day, nothing's going to change. It's all in the past. Cool, bang, 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 move on. Do what you want to do. Play some volleyball, man. Play some sports. Get out in the sun. Live a little bit. And then, if you do live a little bit, other people are going to feel bad, because they feel like they're missing out. They feel like they're not living a bit. But then, like, whatever. To them, your goals is totally different. And so for them, they should do their own thing. Live a little bit in the sense of living your life, and then bang, you'll be happy, you'll be good, you'll be smooth. You'll be smoothing, you know what I'm saying? What I was going to say before is social media. In friends groups and whatever, oftentimes post what's glamorous or what's better, and everyone kind of understands this to some certain degree, but it's how you take action upon this that indicates how much you understand it. So what does that mean? Let's say on social media you understand that oftentimes people are only posting the best things. When they go out to eat, they post a photo of the food because that's interesting, that's cool. They're not going to post a photo of them in the rain or stuck in the train with some druggo yelling at them, even though that's also just as cool. Honestly, I probably like that more. But it's because the food is like the end product. But oftentimes we reflect and we enjoy the journey. Which is true. But when you look at the end result, oftentimes on social media, how it affects you is totally dependent on the way you react to it. So if you know, oh yeah, social media, they post their highlights, they post their best things, and then cool. I have a bit of FOMO, but that's okay, because they must have worked really hard to get to that point, or they must have done X and Y to get to that point, and the end product is the only thing that I see. I only see the best thing at the end. So I don't get affected by it. But if you're someone who does get affected by it, even though you know that social media only glamorizes the best attributes of everyone's life, then that means you don't fully understand how it works. Because if you fully understood that, then you know, oh, it's cool. I'm not affected by it. This is normal. Everyone on social media is going to post what they want to post. They're not going to post something that they don't want to post. So it's like, oh, it's whatever. Move on, But if you don't, that's understandable too. Hopefully, now you can have that perspective though, so that it doesn't happen to you when you see something on social media. You see some famous person. Yeah, of course, bro, they're going to post the best thing. Of course they want to do that. Why wouldn't they want to do that? So allow it to just be there, sit with it, and then move on. Don't be affected by it. I know it may be easier said than done, but don't be affected by it. It's something that, I don't know, comes with time. Think about it. Think over it. Think of a reason why it happens and what you can do differently, I guess. But at the end of the day, fear of missing out only has value because you perceive it to have value. So when you look on social media, it only has value because in your mind, you think eating such luxurious food, which looks so good, must have value because of the time and everything that it spent to do that. But you only see the end product. Oftentimes you only see the best thing. You only see the parties. You don't see the late night train ride home. You don't see all these negative aspects. And so in your mind, the dopamine kicks in. And so you feel like you're missing something. You truly are. But you might be missing something. I'm not going to deny that. But it shouldn't be affecting the way you react to it. It shouldn't be affecting the outcome of the way you move, right? If you're not invited or you're not participating in something, then move on, because that's the best thing that you can do. There's no benefit in thinking about it. There's no benefit in trying to talk about it. Sure, give them positive feedback. Sure, if you see your friend hanging out and they do a cool post, like it, share it. Sure, there's nothing wrong with that. Just don't think that you can't change any of this, because you can. Oftentimes, if you have a lot of FOMO, you can change it. There's so much that you can do to fix the way you think, to move on, to be happy, to live a little bit, if that makes sense. Cool. So, let's quickly read. Cool. Nice. So, just reading over my notes, just by rambling on, I managed to hit every single point that I wanted to talk about. I think over time, as a young kid, you want praise and admiration. That's normal. I still want praise and admiration to this day. And if you do something that's very difficult, if you get positive reinforcement, oftentimes you're willing to spend more time and do that and be better at that, because you're more likely to take chances and do everything you want because you got that positive reinforcement. So it's good to be positive and be happy to those people who are trying something new. But that's why it's also so key as an individual, as a human being deep down in our soul, to have FOMO as well. Because at a young age, what has helped us grow a lot is the views, is the looks, is the appraisal of others, family, friends, anyone, right? And so from building that at a young age, which is very necessary, and I really do wish that you guys all appreciate and praise yourself and, live life as if you are being rewarded and you are cared for, that we as a byproduct have FOMO. Because FOMO is basically an indication of praise if you are invited, if that makes sense. So FOMO, fear of missing out, is kind of like if you were invited to those things and you didn't miss out, then you would get the appraisal, appeal, happiness that you want, which is very useful in life. And so that's why FOMO is so prominent in day-to-day life, right? You have FOMO all the time. it's completely understandable, because it's like, when you kind of think about it, it's like there's certain things that you as a human being enjoy very much, and so life gives you those opportunities, and FOMO is like, I'll give you that opportunity, but only if you're invited, or only if you come, or only if you join. But when you do that, then you're kind of allowing your mind, your body, your soul to say to that situation, like, okay, I am only going to be able to get this praise, happiness, approval from other people if I come to this place and get approved by this other person, or this other person lets me come. And so it's like it's a negative slope, because that's why it's so important to just give praise to people. I truly believe that deep down inside, just giving praise to people who need it most oftentimes, and that's everyone. Everyone needs appraisal a lot of people need it. It's just so beneficial for a lot of us. But appraisal is slightly negative, because it is reliant upon you getting positive reinforcement from someone else, which means that you have to get it from something that you cannot control. And so when you try to control that, then that's when it becomes negative, because when you try to control something out of your control, it doesn't end well, and you often feel like you have no power, you have no free will. So it's tough, because the best appraisal you can get is just genuine, honest appraisal, and that can only come from hard work, resolve, and taking full responsibility of everything. And so it's a slippery slope. But if you have FOMO, just take a second, think about it. What is their situation? What is my situation? Why do I fear? Why do I have FOMO right now? And if you think about it, okay, pause, take it step by step. Okay, why do I have FOMO? Okay, because I feel like I don't go to parties often, and my friends group, who I was really close to in high school, are going out on parties and posting it on Instagram. Okay, that is why I have FOMO. Cool, I understand that. Is there anything I can do about that? No, not really. Is there a reason why that it happens? Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because they go to university, they have friends, they hang out with their own friends, and they're pretty close with each other. Very close, in fact. Oh, so you got your answer. It wasn't you. You weren't the problem all along. You weren't invited because of you. It was just because they were invited because of them. You weren't excluded because of you. It's just that they invited themselves. They were in their situation, right? And when you think about it that way, you often realize that, first off, it's not good to have FOMO, but it's not your problem. It's not your issue. You're not missing out on anything. And they never and truly didn't really care much about you as an individual, which is a good thing, because you shouldn't fear it because you think, oh, they dislike me, or they don't like me, or whatever, because they didn't even think about you to begin with, which is a good thing, because you wouldn't think about them at all to begin with if you never saw that post. So what does that mean? Work on yourself, work hard on yourself, and as a byproduct, people will be thinking about you. If you don't work on yourself, and you watch others, then you're the one that's feeling the flame for those people who work on themselves. So that's what you should do. Work on yourself. I figured it out at the end. Work on yourself. Be happy. Do your own things. Give people praise. Acknowledge other people's praise towards you, but take full responsibility and control over what you can and can't do. As simple as that. Anyways, I gotta take a sip of water because my voice is getting super dry. Anyway, and I'll catch you guys on the Dacob Daily Podcast, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode. So this was an episode of FOMO. Peace out, everybody. Let's go.